Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show that Councilman Ankeny is not in. He's called in and told us if possible he's going to try to make it via the Zoom, but he's out of town. Councilman Weaver has called in and he is sick and is unable to attend tonight. Roll call show Councilman Demick, Councilman Zant, myself is present. Like to remind everybody as a courtesy to others, make sure you got your phones turned off. And we appreciate anybody that fills in the sign-in sheet. If you got a question, please come to the podium. State your name, address the governing body. We do have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Have a second?
Second.
We have moved in second. We approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed. Councilman Zant, Councilman Demick, and Mayor, all in the affirmative, all three in the affirmative. Any communications from citizens? Any communications from citizens? None being. Move forward to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Right. I'll make that motion.
Councilman Demick made the motion to approve the consent agenda. Been seconded by Councilman Zant. Any discussion?
I'm looking at the bills, so I'm still. Petty cash. That's something we have on here every month or every 2 weeks for $100. What's it used for? I mean,
A lot of it.
I mean, just like, is it just a cookie jar full of money? I need $10 for something to go get it. How is it audited?
So there's a receipt trail that's in there. So whenever anything's taken out, so like if I go buy it, or not go buy it, but if I go down to Lander to pay the title for a piece of property or a registration for vehicles, I have to take cash to pay. So I take it out of the petty cash to pay that. I bring the receipt back, and then it's followed into the petty cash, and that's how it drains down like that.
I just never knew how petty cash, what category, what line item it came out of.
And so that actually comes out of its own different line item, miscellaneous and general administration.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a accounting of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. It's one of those things that slush fund. And that's, how people look at it. But
Kind of, yeah.
a lot of people don't know what it's used for exactly, therefore I ask.
Was the stuff with the stock doc, did it have anything to do with what we talked about last meeting, or was that?
That's what that was for.
Yes,
Nothing new about that. That was just, was
for
about
the care of the dog. Yeah, very, very expensive.
It was a dog or three dogs?
Actually 4. Sorry, 4.
Is there any possibility of getting any of that back through the courts?
It was actually ordered, found guilty, and ordered restitution from the court.
Okay. Good.
The second half of that is a pending court case that got continued from today till next Tuesday. That's for $1,079. We'll do that one. Not additional bill. It's included in this one.
A lot of it depends on the defendant's ability to pay.
The judge also allowed restitution in the form of community service to be used for some of that too.
That's the judge's prerogative.
Any other questions? None being, all in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same, motion passed. All three in the affirmative. Public hearing, business ready, community grant.
This is for feasibility study.
Yes, for a feasibility study. Do you want to talk or you want me to lead off?
You can.
Okay. Yeah, what this is we're working with the Wyoming Business Council. It's an 80-20 grant. The Business Council will expend up to $25,000. So the total of the feasibility study up to $33,333.33 would be an 80-20 grant. If it exceeds that amount, it'd be up to the town of Shoshoni to make up that difference. Hopefully the project would come in near that price or less. But it's a feasibility study for a motel in the town of Shoshoni. And we're ready to move forward on that. And we have a deadline coming up here in a couple of weeks where we gotta have this presented. So is there any questions from the audience? We also have a representative from the Wyoming Business Council with us. Any questions? Elaine, would you like to explain it better than I did or add any to that I missed?
No, I would not like to explain it better because I think you're doing a fine job. The Business Council contracts with cities and towns across the state and has been doing that since its inception in '98. This is a way for cities, towns, and counties to do some infrastructure work eventually, but we also have a planning portion, and the feasibility study fits under our eligible uses. So a public hearing is required as part of that, and the 20% match that's required, half of it needs to be cash. So the town has gone through and is going through our process right now. This will be submitted on September 1, and it takes about 4 to 6 months until the last signature is adhered to the document, and then the town of Shoshone can spend money at that time. They will have to go through an RFP process to advertise because it's public.
I wonder if we're,
Public money, and so the answer is, I said no to this. I am explaining further, so my apologies for that. So it's something we've done for years, and this is just town of Shoshone, what they have
We got everybody
determined is
online.
important to them.
my only concern, Elaine, is that maybe far away as you are with the speakers wouldn't picked up or other than that, you were doing good. I'm sure everybody here could hear you. I was just concerned. I was concerned, and I really appreciate you being here, and I don't want to.
I should know better. The Wyoming Business Council has a grant program, and there's 3 levels of that, and plus a planning portion. And this is the planning portion of that. We have several different kinds of planning that we do within the Business Council. Our customers are cities, towns, counties, and tribes based upon the Wyoming Constitution. This is a planning document that they're going. It's a feasibility study, so we have a 25% grant, and then the match that is associated with this. The town of Shoshone is required to put out an RFP as per their protocol, and you're not required to award to the lowest bidder, but you should have a reasonably good explanation why you're not going to go that way. What this will do, is that you'll hire a consultant to look at establishing a full-service hotel in Shoshone, and whether it can make it and how many rooms it can do to make that, so that Shoshone can market itself as a place for a hotel. Based upon your traffic counts, it looks pretty good to me with 1.8 and 1.2, but that's why we hire experts, is we don't have that in-house at the Business Council, and I'm sure town of Shoshone doesn't. But if you are going to take it to somebody, a developer, you need this kind of document to do so.
One of the, I think, reasons for this is, A, you want us to be successful. And the experts, even though it looks like to me and you, it should be a great place, maybe it's not. And B, we can, if it comes out recommending, brand name, size, whatever comes out, we know who we should be marketing to try to get in there, and use that as a marketing tool also, that would give them some assurance.
This is our process. By the time they put the application in, it's 4 to 6 months until the last signature is affixed to the document before you can spend money.
Yes.
So we can't reimburse. So I really caution you to be careful when you put things out and when you bring them back in, so you do not spend money prematurely. And this is, again, our protocol. There's no guarantee of funding at the time it goes before the Business Council Board, which is an advisory board. Joel and whomever he brings along will be there in some capacity. And then it goes before the SLID board, which is the top 5 elected officials. They are the ultimate decision makers because they are elected. And you will also be in Cheyenne for that. So there is some effort on the part of the town to do one of these kinds of grants. Any details, please give me a call and I'll try to walk through it. I know Shoshone, it's been a while since you submitted a application. So please contact me and I'd be delighted to do that. I just recently started covering Fremont County. I've spent 15 years down in Lincoln, Lincoln, Uinta, and Teton County. So we rearranged how we do things. So now I have a Fremont sublet in Teton County. So if you, I can answer or help, have an idea, please feel free to give me a call. Delighted to do that.
Thank you. Anybody further questions while we got Elena here in front of us? Thank you so much for coming to our meeting tonight. Any other questions about that? Resolution 21-001, budget amendment, half-cent tax.
Sorry. A resolution authorizing the increasing of the fiscal year 2022 budget revenues and expenditures for the town of Shoshoni. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni passed a budget resolution for fiscal year 2022, including expected revenues and expenditures. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenue estimates were unknown due to implementation of a new special purpose tax. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenues from this source are distributed fully to the town of Shoshoni. And whereas the town of Shoshoni shall pay 20% of revenue to the city of Riverton for air transportation service and 10% to FCAG for ground transportation service as per MOU agreement. And whereas the full amount of revenue and expenditures was not budgeted. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni authorizes the town treasurer to increase the budgeted revenue of the following line items and in the amount specified commensurate with revenues received in excess of budget. 1038-110, which is half-cent special purpose tax, $30,400. Now, therefore, be it further resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni to authorize the town treasurer to create the following additional line items in the amount specified. Riverton Air Service, $12,600. FCAG Ground Transportation, $6,300. And Economic Projects, $44,100.
Can I have a motion to approve? The resolution as spoken. Yes. Can I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Demick, that we approve resolution 21-001, budget amendment, half-cent tax. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say.
I'm
Okay.
still thinking before I open my mouth. So out of this half-cent sales tax, how much does the town get for itself is my question.
$44,100.
Okay. To me, when I read this, it said economic projects, so I just had to make sure that's what it was. Okay.
Is Riverton Air Services at the airport?
Correct.
Yes, it is. And first should be noted, these are estimated amounts.
Yes, they are.
These are based on sales tax revenue, so it is estimated, or best estimation, but that's estimated amounts.
And if it's, these are estimations are off, do we get a refund?
So say, in this case, the estimate is $63,000 total is what the revenues would be for the city. And say it comes in at,
60,000. Do we get a
I
refund?
was gonna do really simple math, but we'll do 60,000.
Okay,
So in that case,
or 50,000, whatever.
so in that case, only 12,000 would go to the Riverton Air Service. So we budget 12,600, but only 12,000 would go there. And then in the case of FCAG, it'd be 6,000. And then in our case, the town would have the difference between that, which is 30 or, wow,
So my question is,
18, 42, 42,000 would be what.
will the airport just write us a check back for reimbursement?
Oh, it's based
We'll
on,
put this quarterly, so.
Quarterly, okay.
Only
This
when we
is paid-
come in, yeah.
Oh,
So we're only paying whatever percentage will we actually get. This is.
Quarterly.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, and it's all based on percentages, so they'll get their pound of flesh and that's all.
And these will all be on the bill list too, so they'll be able to track it as we go.
Any other questions? None being, all in favor, resolution 21-01, budget amendment, half-cent tax, say aye. Aye, both same. Motion passed, 3-0. Fiscal year 2021 Shoshoni financial report.
That mic is gonna be hard. Put the mic over there so I can put the mic.
Excuse me.
Hope I don't put anybody to sleep. So this is a basic summary of our finances for the year. So I split it up between our general revenue and intergovernmental revenue, which comprises part of our general fund, and separated out the capital projects revenue, which also is part of the general revenues, but it's a special line item there. So the amount budgeted for general revenue was $650,466 and some change. And we actually took in $631,078.82. So we were $19,387 less than what we budgeted that would be for general revenue. However, our intergovernmental revenue budgeted at $518,950. The actual was $541,297, which was $22,346 more than we budgeted. And mind you, we did quarterly updates throughout the year, trying to track our finances as we went out the year and budget pretty much down to the dollar. Out of this, just a notation as an encumbrance, or the police surcharge for the police vehicle that goes from 1 year over 2 years purchasing vehicle, that was encumbered and kicked from fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 22. So that comes off of our expenditure or our revenues. And so our total revenue was $1,172,376.20. And our total expenses were $1,147,492.18, leaving a final year end balance for those two sources of revenue versus expenditures is $3,384.02. Keep in mind that $21,500 was taken off of that number. So if you add the $21,500 back into that, we finished the year with $24,884.02 was what our total revenue versus expenditures was under budget. And then capital projects, $1,240,171 budgeted. We actually brought in $1,011,035.45, difference of $229,135.83, less than we budgeted. However, our revenue over expenses, our total revenue versus the expense of $1,011,866.88 came in at $831.43 over budget. When you combine, as I said before, these are both general fund. When you combine those two together, our total year-end balance was $2,552.59 under budget. And again, don't forget that $21,500 that was subtracted out for next year. So when you add that in, we were $52.59 under budget for the year. And then all these were further broken down into explaining how those numbers were derived. And so here's our general revenue, as I explained before. And here's that $21,500. Well, that actual number is minus that from there. And then if you notate, our approved budget was $426,212, which over the course of the year with the budget modifications as we went through resolutions, the modified budget was $650,466. So that's where that budget amount of $650,466 came from. And on the intergovernmental revenue, same thing, or same process of how we came up with those numbers. And I did disclose anything over on the revenue side, anything over $1,000 in discrepancy, whether it's where the source is notated on here. And so we still came in 9,802 over budget on mineral royalties, for example, 2,512 on severance tax, 4,476 sales use. The cops hiring grant, 8,171. Our gas tax came in a little bit less than what we had hoped, and the highway safety grant also was below budget. That was because the expenditure was below budget as well. And then you can see the commensurate adjustments that were made from the approved budget versus the modified budget and how that was derived. And again, same thing on the capital projects. So that $229,000 difference between budget and actual for revenues. Our TAP grant was under budget, so we didn't use that budget. So that comprised the majority of the underage there, as well as the lagoon project, which was completed and finally closed out last year, $120,000, which was offset with our unsent, which again was over budget, what we had budgeted for revenue, as well as some other grants that came in that we hadn't budgeted for or came in excess of budget. And then the adjustments down here, a large majority of the approved budget versus the modified budget as a result of the COVID monies that were from the resolutions, and some from the Wildlight Energy grant that we received as well. And then this shows the revenue adjustments as we went through the year every quarter with those resolutions that affected the capital projects. And then you can take a look at each department and how they performed throughout the year. The mayor and council's budget was $510 over budget. And the majority of that came as a result of salary and wages, which were over budget, which was a result of more meetings than had been budgeted for that were paid out at the end of last year in December. And again, same methodology with the approved and modified budgets and how they came to be. Municipal court came in $110.96 over budget. More than that was because of the miscellaneous charges that were there, which mainly comprised a lot of the stuff with the audit and having to print off and document those things and send things in the mail, which caused that to go a little bit over budget. Obviously, there were some line items that were a few dollars here and there that were under budget, which is why there's a difference there. On expenditures, I only track if it's more than $500 in discrepancy with the line items, and some of them like $20,000, $30,000 be expected to be a little bit off. And then again, approved versus modified. And these were the quarterly adjustments with the employee pay raise that came in March. General administration was $11,068.27 under budget. Majority of that was salaries and wages, contract, and special projects that came in under what was budgeted. And you can track that's pretty much where all the discrepancy there was while we were under budget, to explain that. And then here's all the adjustments that took place. And I counted for every adjustment for the actual balance of the difference there. I should have probably pointed that out on the onset. If there's any questions, stop me at any time, because it'll probably be easier to come going back. Capital projects, $180,720 under budget. overwhelming majority again was the TAP grant that was completed under budget. The adjustments that affected the capital projects was mainly related to COVID, with the resolutions for the medical clinic equipment, the town hall, as well as the Wildlight Energy Grant, comprising almost all of the difference there. Airport had no expenses, no changes. Library was $4,498.22 under budget, the majority of which came from salaries and wages, a little bit from utilities. There was some adjustments made prior to for the pay raises and a supplies adjustment made with the resolution on the quarterly updates for $500. That accounts for the 2,039 difference in approved versus modified budget. Law enforcement was $1,271.72 under budget. Most of that coming from a combination of the on-call being under budget and the telephone being under budget. Adjustments, majority of which was related to the SRO being added full-time when the town took on the SRO as an employee from the school. And that being added, that was the majority of the adjustments that took place. The rest of these were adjustments made quarterly, as well as the pay raise adjustment. Fire department, no changes. They were 8 cents off on their approved versus modified. That's just because I didn't round up, I guess. They were $18.46 over budget. Majority of that was the mill levy, is why that was off. Streets and alleys, $8,939 under budget. They have a lot more line items that were $200-300 under budget, which don't show on here, but these are large ones that comprise most of the difference of why they were under budget. The biggest adjustment is the capital outlays, which was the vehicle purchase from the COVID money reimbursement, as well as a greater repair adjustment that was added in with the COVID reimbursement or the CD transfer. Parks and Rec, $5,062.33 under budget. Biggest difference there again was salaries and wages under budget. So the enterprise fund, so these ones will have revenue and expenditures on the same ones. So the water fund was $11,561 under budgeted for the revenues. Their expenditures was $6,000 under budget. Notation is the transfer for the well repair of $55,000, which you guys notated down here. Outside of that, salaries and wages for the pay raise are the biggest contributors to the adjustment, which leaves the year-end balance for the water enterprise fund of $3,511.88. The total amount of the well repairs above budget was $56,000. So while there's a plus here, the majority of it was because of the transfer, not because it was actually solvent. It was still about $1,000 negative minus that transfer.
So you have the amounts in each start fund we have, each account for. Okay. I'd like to have that someday.
Wastewater enterprise fund. They actually came in above revenue, $14,203. Their expenditures was $9,082 under budget. which left the wastewater revenue with a surplus of $27,017. Outside of employees, there's no major adjustments. Senior housing. Again, the revenue was 4,641 over budget. Expenditures was 7,129 over budget, which contributed to a year-end balance of negative $2,481.83. Majority of which was utilities and payroll benefits that weren't budgeted. They are now in this current budget, so that's not an issue going forward, but it was in this one. But when we budgeted senior housing, they were budgeted to $7 as a surplus. And if it's not for the utilities and the insurance payment, they still would have had a surplus of $800. And the senior center is pretty much derived from their interest from the LPL accounts that transfer over, and then payments that go out to them from that account is what their expenditures are. They did have a large amount of income from insurance payments, $121,283. And so that wasn't really a budgeted item per se. And that is leaving their year-end balance at $113,821. However, the insurance payment of $3,630 off the 121, leaving them with the remaining balance of about $117,600 for their insurance repairs. And that's all I have for that. This is also posted online too. Any questions?
Thanks, Chris, for that report. Very detailed and informative. Like you said, it's online. Anybody else, anything, or move on? No permits this time. Appearances by citizens and public presentations. Anybody, we don't have anybody listed, but does anybody have something? None being. Trash committee, I see Kathy, you're here.
Sorry, I was thinking about getting prepared, but anyway, Kathy Blair, and I was the head of the trash committee, and we did meet several months ago, it seems like now, and we set up some suggestions for the council, but we're going to put it on the council's shoulders.
Well, sure. Yeah, that's all we ask you to do is come up if you got any ideas.
Yeah, so I submitted them to you guys a long time ago. Do I need to redo it? Or whatever, some suggestions, items?
Let me have to.
You did get them, didn't you? Jerry, did you get one?
I got mine.
Okay, now I thought I sent them all to,
Not mine.
okay,
Okay, I must missed it also.
oh, I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how I missed it.
Send them all out again.
I'll send them out again, okay? Yeah, not a problem, but anyway, we did that.
Oh, okay, well, thank you.
I'm sorry, I thought you got it, and
Well, I should have, I must apologize, because, you know, my oversight, I'll check my,
well, I'll send them again.
I know,
I'm
we,
sure that all the council has them too.
I know I'd seen you'd mentioned some progress a couple times on a meeting, but I don't remember getting a recommendation from the the committee.
Okay. All right, well, anyway. I'll do
Well,
that.
okay, well, thank you. We'll reschedule that next meeting, or you want to talk about it? Mike, you said you had the recommendations, or we want to wait, schedule
Well,
next
I
meeting?
no, I didn't get.
Bob does.
I moved to table it till
Okay,
next meeting.
okay, very good.
That needs to be second.
Yes.
Can I second that?
You can second that
Okay, I'll second that.
because we're not voting.
We're not
I'll vote to
voting.
decide.
Been moving second, we table the trash committee report till our next scheduled regular council meeting. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, same. Motion passed, 3-0. Thank you. Sorry about that, Kathy. Appreciate the effort you and the others put in, you and Gary and Jake, and forget who else was on, but appreciate the work you did. Be the next. The next on the agenda is the closure of the Wasatch Victims Benefit Fund account at Central Bank and Trust.
So the Wasatch Victims Benefit Fund has been fully paid out and exhausted, and at this time, we no longer need that bank account. And so I would ask to have a vote or a motion to close that account.
No motion to close the,
So moved.
thank you. Second? Moving second to close the Wasatch Victims Benefit Fund account at Central Bank and Trust. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed 3-0. Burn pile.
Councilman Weaver has to,
Councilman Weaver's one asked to put this on,
as well as Councilman Ankeny.
and Ankeny both asked to put this on. Neither one of them are present. We'll put this on our table.
Second.
Any further discussion? Been moved by Councilman Demick, second by Councilman Zent, move the burn pile to the next regular scheduled council meeting. All in favor, any no further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed 3-0. The next on new business is brought forward by Councilman Ankeny. Can we want to discuss that, or you want to move that to the next meeting also?
Make a motion, we table the guideline manual hiring process to the next meeting.
Second.
Been moved second, we table the guideline manual 2.3 hiring process to our next regular scheduled meeting. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed 3-0. Department head report from our town clerk.
I pretty much gave my report, so the only thing I have to add is that we have 2 grants that we're working on getting submitted by August 15th. One for the sewer project, as well as the feasibility study that was previously discussed, and that on track to be completed here in the next 2 weeks. That's all I have.
Could you speak up, please?
Sorry. I kind of spoke a lot earlier, so I don't have a whole lot, just the 2 grant applications that we intend to have submitted initially to the Wyoming Business Council by August 15th. One for the West Side Sewer Expansion for Economic Development, as well as the feasibility study that was previously discussed. And we're working on getting those tied up and everything submitted from that. That's all I have for anything else for the clerk report today.
Any questions? Move on. Is there still a need for an executive session?
I never knew we were needed one in the first place.
Councilman Ankeny.
Councilman Ankeny requested. I didn't,
Table.
no table. So, well, I guess if he needs it next time, he can request it, but still. Or we can add it on right now and move on. No, we didn't get a motion, we're just gonna, if Councilman Ankeny feels it's still necessary, he can request it again, because mayor's reports. We had our first annual speed trials, Shoshoni speed trials in the fast lane. That was a successful event. We were anticipating maybe, we're hoping for 20 cars, and thought if we got more, got as high as 30, that would be really, really good. We had 44 participants. And I don't know, 50 people would have showed up as spectators. I would have thought that's about right, or maybe 100 would be really, really good. We probably had approaching 250. We've had estimates, everybody's over 200 and some as high as 300. I don't know, but in that neighborhood, there was a lot of families with children. A lot of vehicles had 4 people in it. There was one family group of 12, and they came in 3 cars. I mean, it was a lot of, I think a lot of fun. We based it out of the Mushroom Farms parking lot. They were very courteous in allowing us to do that, and then they even passed out mushrooms at the end. Everybody was in there, and the next event they may be cooking mushrooms, but they were maybe a little skeptic about having so many people in their parking lot, but at the end they were awful happy about it, and I think was everybody had a lot of people enjoy racing, had fun. Let me put it that way. Not everybody enjoys racing, but it brought quite a few people to town. A lot of positive deal. There's a request. We do another one this year. So as long as there's no loud objection or something, we'd like to do one probably August 28th. There is an event August 7th. There's also another, I think the event Casper's August 7th. I think Grable, there's another event August 14th. August 28th would give us time to be prepared. To be honest, we were a little underprepared for this event. Did not anticipate the quantity of people that was there. So we had some bugs that we had to iron out to get things moving smoothly. But once they actually did start doing pretty good. We had a young man and his dad and his grandfather drive up from Casper, I believe, was that last Thursday? I think came up. Anyway, the young 17-year-old, 16 or 17, he actually won the event, but it got hot and they left before the trophies were passed out. So his father and grandfather, they came on up and got his trophy, and that kid was really, really excited. And his grandfather had a Dodge Hellcat, pretty fast car, and they came up there, but he's handicapped now, sort of with health issues. But boy, that whole family was really excited, and that just warmed my heart to see that young man win that, and how excited he was, and how proud his father and grandfather were of him. So it was, it was a lot of, we had some fast cars there. We had the fastest car was Johnny Brubaker's Nova, ran 107 miles an hour in the 8th mile. That's picking up pretty fast. We had, I don't know, we had 12 classes, so we allowed everybody, from fast cars to 4 cylinders run, gas pickups, V6 pickups, diesel, SUVs. There was a class for everybody, and we had at least one car in every class. Bobby Cordell, won People's Choice Award for this 58 Chevy, and he is now officially, it was the People's Choice. He's also officially the quickest car in Shoshoni. I believe he ran officially 101 miles an hour in the 8th mile in that 58 Chevy.
Also catcher.
And Chris, I put out challenges to Mustangs and Challengers and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, Chris's Camaro was the fastest in his class at 83 miles an hour.
I won't catch him in that.
You go by yourself
83 miles an hour.
in your class?
No.
Oh, come on now.
There was a 2010 Jaguar XFTZ. That's a supercharged 600 horsepower luxury sports car, and it ran 81 miles an hour. I believe there was another car that ran 80 in that division, but that was that was some pretty. The Jaguars got a reputation of being pretty fast, so I don't know. I hate to get Chris's head any bigger, but he was either damn lucky, excuse my language, or he did one heck of a job of driving.
I'll go with the latter.
Whichever the case may be, but yeah, winning that division was pretty good. But Jordan Whitener raced in 2 divisions. His pickup was 74 miles an hour in the 8th mile for big old white Ford, and then he raced his wife's Ford Explorer, and it ran 77 miles an hour with a turbocharged V6 that's in it. There's, Steve Harless ran 106 miles an hour in our Super Street. Super Street are allowed power adders and NOS, and Johnny Brubaker 107 miles an hour in his 68 Nova, and that's all motor, no power adders. So there's Hunter Day was the young man from Casper, the 71 Le Mans that won his division. So it was, I think people had a lot of fun. It's with our location, I know that people from Casper are awful interested in coming up here and doing some more. I mean, may have started something that has drawn a lot of attention. We had 21 cars from Riverton. I think 21 cars from Riverton. We had 9 from Shoshoni, 7 from Lander. So anyway, I better get off. This meeting's going pretty good. I don't want to spend too much time, but
My
any
question is,
comments?
Yeah, was there any damage to the street?
Doesn't appear to me.
That's one of the
Yeah.
issue I'll be very concerned about,
Sure.
If we're using that much tire and
Mhm.
street use. That's something we need to watch for.
Agreed. Anything else? Any comments from the audience? For, against, anything?
I would like to ask if that 28th August date's for sure thing or just potentially
That's an open date, so that would be probably the best date. That gives us enough time to get organized, to do it and do it right. That was what talk, I've been talking with some of the racers, and that's the date they suggested. So we don't want to interfere with other events going on. So that looks like that would, with talking with people, I was leaning initially maybe for the 21st, but the 28th does give us more time, and that gives some racers that would prefer that date. Any date you pick, there will be some conflict, but we do not want to conflict with the Grable or the Casper. So yeah, I think the 28th is the best date for us to do it. Anybody, anything else? West Side Sewer expansion, we are putting together again, working with the business council, we're putting together the grant application for that. One of the things I'd like to announce on that, with the estimates we've got, could be over 800,000 to $1 million, near 900,000 to $1 million. We're looking at a 95.5 grant. We'd have to see, that was it. We're looking at engineers' estimate with a 95.5 grant, so it'd be 5%. So if I'm using round numbers, it was $1 million, it'd be $50,000. We've been notified by Wyoming Mushrooms that they're gonna write a check to the city for $50,000 for this project. And I believe that's gonna be August 13th. To show how serious they are about that, and they're providing us letters of support for that. So we'll be getting that to the business council, but they would, and I would like to, I'm probably gonna ask to try to set up a special meeting for the council to receive that check, and they'd like to make a presentation to the town. They have people from their higher ups are coming in to present that to the town from California, and they can't be here at our next council meeting, which would be the 10th, but they could be here the 13th. Anybody have a conflict with that? That's on a Friday.
It's the farmer's market, it's ice cream social. Is that right, Jennifer?
It is.
What time is that?
5 to 7.
Right after the ice cream social, we could have it.
Yeah.
We could set it at 7:30.
That's the only conflict I know.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure that we're not. But it's, that'd be a good, I think that would help us out quite a bit. They said it'll look like the potential cost would be 50,000. They're going to write us a check for that. So I will schedule that special meeting then for that day at, say, 7:30. Make sure we get the ice cream social over. I'm asking.
I don't know what time, I don't know what time they're coming in, so
Okay.
so it depends on their schedule before I open my mouth.
I mentioned to them around, the regular meetings are 7, so I mentioned that to them, and I can double check if they'd like to do it earlier, but
Yeah, so let's work on
Okay.
their
I
schedule.
don't know, okay, we'll work on that then.
Okay.
And we'll set the date, set the time at a different time, so. I believe that's, oh, okay,
If I can-
please do.
So it's not a clerk thing, it's a police thing, so that's why I forgot it for the third
Okay.
time in a row. I was reminded about it, so I've been trying to get it out there. So the Shoshone Police Department created a Facebook page, and I've reached out to some community members for some help in administering that page and monitoring it and making posts on our behalf. And Jennifer Shano agreed that she would be a liaison between the community and the police department and provide content, information, and feedback on our Shoshone page. So I'm sure we'll get some information out there, but that will be used for reporting things such as lost dogs, found dogs, something minor like that, to some other concerns in the neighborhood, things that you're not liking going on, good, bad, and different, as well as hopefully some community outreach content that we can post on there to try and have some fun with it a little bit. So I'm sure we'll come up with some things like that. Kind of like the Grinch thing we did last year, something to that effect. Maybe not that grand, I don't know, but I just wanted to let everyone know that if you don't like something, talk to Jennifer. Or if you like it, talk to Jennifer. But I do appreciate her willingness to help out and do that, because that is a pretty big commitment, having to monitor that and respond and things like that. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Shoshone Police Department.
Thanks, Jennifer. That's. Bob, do you have anything you'd like to bring up?
No. Do everything else.
There's a shooting, you can just.
Mike, anything?
Call 911.
I guess if we have any questions from the audience, have any questions? None being, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Dimick. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. 8:02.